On this week's episode of the BS Show, we dive into the Palworld update, Arcane, how video games improve your mental health, and Naughty Dog's Intergalactic. Before we jump in, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials at the BS Show GG. Love what you're hearing? Show your support by liking this episode, dropping a comment with your thoughts, and subscribing to keep up with all our future content. I'm Blake, and with me as always is Steve. So everybody, what a weekend it's been. I sincerely hope everybody's had a great weekend. Christmas was just this past week, so it kind of limited my ability to play a lot of games, but I did manage to squeeze in some time playing League as always, and played quite a bit of PoE too, and I'm still trying to get the hang of it. I'm stuck on, what's his name, Steve? I think it's called Count Gino or something like that werewolf boss, and Steve kind of helped me out figure out that my build was wrong, right?
How many times did you try it after I went to bed last night?
Honestly, like 2 or 3 more times. I just got to the point where I was like, fuck this. Dude, it like I thought like I was doing good, and you're like, oh, dude, you just finished phase 1. You still got 2 more phases, and like I could not get past phase 2. So like I'm still enjoying it though. Like what's crazy about PoE 2 is like it's not my normal kind of game that I play, but you're helping me kind of branch out into more of like these, non-competitive games, and I'm starting to enjoy them like a bit more. PoE 2 is actually a lot of fun. What I am worried about is investing a lot of time into this first character, getting max level, and then, like I said, being like, okay, well, now I can play the game, because it's like those talent things are so confusing, and like you pointed out, like I was kind of building my shit all sorts of wrong. Like what I was building was more focused around like my grenades, but I was using like my main crossbow shot instead of that. But yeah, like I'm still enjoying it. How about you, man? What have you been up to this week? You have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it was good. Got a couple things that I know we were talking about earlier. Got a Ninja Creamy, so that's been messing around with that a lot. But honestly, just been playing a lot of Hearthstone, been playing a lot of PoE, and that's really it. I've kind of got hit by the Hearthstone bug again, and
I saw that. I see you on constantly, dude.
Yeah, it was. I think I played like probably 4 hours yesterday and a couple hours this morning. Just looking for something. It's one of those things. It's like I love Hearthstone, I love TFT, but TFT takes such a long time to kind of get into the groove of things when it's a new season, and Hearthstone is just so much easier. It's just like everything look like Murlocs look like Murlocs, Quillbore look like Quillbore. And TFT always adds these new archetypes, and it's so hard. Like I have to sit there and read every single little character, and then I have to double check and see if they're AP or if they're just straight up attack.
Wait, does shit not change in Hearthstone, or is it like the same cards? I know they introduce like new card sets and shit like that, but is it pretty much like the same thing every time?
So they'll introduce new cards, but it's always the same archetypes. Like every once in a while, they'll add new archetypes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's always the exact same archetypes. Like you're always going to get Naga, you're always going to get Undead, Quillbore, Murloc, but they're just introducing new cards. But it's easier, at least for me, it's easier to kind of get into the grooves of thing, because if I'm playing like Murlocs, I know what a Murloc looks like, and I know I'm going to go for a Murloc every single time to. Like, yeah, sometimes I have to read the cards and see how they interact, but like it's still a lot easier, I think, in terms of like kind of figuring everything out and figuring out.
It's because you've invested so much time into it. I think that's why you like it more than TFT, because like you've put so much more time into Battlegrounds. You've gotten all these packs. I feel like if you put that amount of time in TFT, then it'd be different. You'd value TFT more than Hearthstone.
Well, I actually it's kind of weird, because I actually enjoy TFT a lot more than Battlegrounds. I think TFT is a lot more interactive. It's a lot more enjoyable, and it's a lot harder too. But the biggest reason,
the randomizer is a lot more like the items and shit like that with the carousels.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more RNG in TFT for sure. But even if you don't get like the perfect items, like you can still do fairly well with TFT. Just going after the correct builds and the correct items, because no matter what, like you're gonna get full sets of items for like 2 or 3 characters, and as long as you're putting your items on the right characters, you're fine. Like, yeah, you're not gonna get the most optimal items every single time, but like you can still build something strong enough to compete. like I said, the hardest thing for me is just they're always adding new archetypes that makes it so much harder unless you're keeping up with everything. And it just takes so much time before I could even feel comfortable jumping into competitive with TFT. I think that's one of the good things about TFT compared to Hearthstone is TFT offers like quick play, so you can sit in there and just spam quick play games and get a better idea of how the meta is, what the archetypes are before you can even jump to competitive. But it's just so much easier for me to just jump into Hearthstone. It's just like, okay, let me get a couple matches in, let me get some rating, and go from there.
Well, I like how TFT has, like, I use that thing it's called Mobalytics.
Yeah.
Where it kind of helps you, like, your builds and, like, what items, like, are best in slot for the people that you're using. I don't think Hearthstone really has, they don't have add-ons for that, do they?
No, you can get things like Firestone and Hearthstone Deck Tracker and stuff like that that'll kind of help out with that. But a lot of the times they don't really do a whole lot outside of like letting you look in and see like, okay, I want to play Beast. Let me click on the Beast archetype and then see all the cards that are in that archetype that are within the pool, and let me pin them so when they show up on the board or show up in the store, they have like a little icon over them, so you can it's like, okay, you have to kind of pick it, kind of similar to like TFT's team builder. Like you have a team builder in TFT, and you can basically build your team there, and as you're going through the store, you'll see a little icon over the characters that you want to pick, and you'll just drag those in.
I'm surprised you aren't bragging about how you finally beat Balatro.
Oh no. It's I've beaten it a couple times since then too. It's I think it was just maybe just overcomplicating it and trying too hard to get like perfect builds, and I found myself kind of resetting all the time.
Did you end up doing endless at all, or did you just kind of get to the end of the mode where you quote unquote completed it and then just start back over?
No, I just got to the end of it. I just got to the end and then did a couple new runs.
What I found to be the best thing, instead of like wasting time with some of the decks, like if I don't get good jokers or good, was it like the planet packs, I just fucking new deck. Like if I don't have something good by like the fifth blind, I'm like, yep, this is gonna go nowhere, not even gonna waste my time. Let me start that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%, and that's kind of what I was doing in the beginning. The first time that I actually beat it, I was just going straight through it, and I got very lucky with like my last Joker picks at the end, and
I know you sent me a screenshot of you finally winning, and you're like, because I think my best hand was like 2-pair, and yours was what, like a straight or something like that, which is kind of fucking crazy though. Like that was the best fucking that you built up with all the Joker stuff. Like that was a straight. Like that seems like it'd be so hard to get.
Well, I got the Joker that lets you make a straight without having the correct sequence, so you could skip one, so you could go 2, 4, 6, and it would still give you a straight. So that definitely helped it out. Joker. Yeah, and I had that, and then I boosted up my straights quite a bit, and then I boosted up my straight flushes, my flushes, stuff like that. So I ended up getting a lot of like straight flushes with that, and got a bunch of the tarot cards that converted everything to like one set, so I had almost nothing but spades and clubs.
See, I don't ever use tarot cards. I always just did the Celestial packs and the Jokers. Maybe I need to look more into those, because I know you got like the ones that like they buff certain fucking cards and shit like that.
Yeah, you can give cards multipliers. You can convert cards, like you can turn one card into another card. So it helps you set things up. Like I saw someone get like the most like insane score ever, and it was just using a bunch of tarot cards and like got a bunch of different multipliers. And that's one thing too that I found out. It's like certain cards that give you multipliers, like sometimes it's better to move them to the back of your hand, so those trigger last, and then certain cards you want to trigger first. Yeah. So it's like I starting to do that. Same thing with your Jokers. Like when you want certain Jokers to trigger, it's like if your multiplier Jokers, like you want them to trigger at the end versus in the beginning.
Yeah, if you got like a times 10, you don't want that to be the first thing that happens. You want it to be like the last thing after it already adds everything into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I noticed that too. After when I won the first one, I was like, man, if I move, I had like I think it was called like a glitch Joker where it would like randomize the multiplier. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit, I could rearrange the order of these. So I had it where like, it increased my chips, multipliers, whatever, and then it'd give me like a times 12 multiplier. I'm like, man, maybe if I put this at the end, it's gonna add all those, other 3 Jokers up first and then do the, times 12 at the end of it.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But all right, let's cut to the BS, man, and get right into it. So we've talked a lot about Palworld and how Nintendo had filed a lawsuit against Pocket Pair, which are the devs, for the way like their Pal Ball mechanics worked in the game. Was like the way they threw it and caught pals. Supposedly, Nintendo had a the fuck is it called, dude? A copyright on it. So Palworld put out an update to kind of distance themselves from being close to this Pokemon clone. And some of these updates included altering to how the Pal Balls or Pal Spheres, I think they changed the name to, work. They introduced a new island called Faybreak. One cool thing that they did was they are randomizing the spawn for pals, because I guess like people were quote unquote like beating the game, and then it's like you'd start a new one, or like not necessarily be in the game, but you'd like, let's say, start a new world, whatever, and the pals are all in the same spots. So they're randomizing the locations, and that on top of a few other pretty updates. Did you happen to catch a glimpse of they put a video out on the Faybreak update? Did you happen to get a good look at that or no?
I didn't watch the video, but I watched a bunch of stuff on like creators for the game itself, and it's really cool to see how excited a lot of people are for this game, and it made me actually re-download the game just to try it out, because they did add a bunch of really cool stuff. Like I think a lot of people were upset whenever Nintendo actually came out with this lawsuit, and I think rightfully so. Like, people don't want to see people put patents on any of these things, because it limits creativity in the future. And granted, like it doesn't look as great now when you're releasing your pals, and they just kind of just automatically are summoned right next to you, versus you kind of throwing the ball. Like that's kind of clunky. But at the same time, it's like, when you think about it, like most entities, most organizations, like if you have a big corporation like Nintendo coming after you, like most people would just kind of crumble and just instantly just
Give up.
probably just shut the game down, give up, and just move on. But like Palworld was like, nope, we're gonna fight this. We're gonna do all this, and then we're gonna give you guys this crazy huge update that incorporates like so many different things. Like you have new raids. One of the really cool things is like you have like they're doing like bounty NPCs that basically provide you like an opportunity to get like some really cool stuff. You have new mechanics with your pals, like you can send your pals out to go find materials now. You have new materials that you can get. You have like these little zone. One of the really cool things, it's like you're flying into the island and there's like anti-aerial missiles that are just shooting at you.
What the fuck?
You have to like figure out a way how to maneuver in there and turn the missiles off, and it's pretty cool. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff that got added into the game, and it seems super super exciting. A lot of people are excited, and a lot of people are hopeful that they continue to do this kind of stuff, because I think ultimately the thing that Palworld did was kind of show people, like, why has Nintendo not been doing this? They've been making Pokemon games for what, like 20 years.
Yeah.
And this is like something that people have been asking, like people have been begging for, an open world Pokemon type game where you can kind of do this type of stuff with your Pokemon, use your Pokemon for stuff outside of just Pokemon battling. And Palworld came out, gave us that, and they're still continuing to provide more and more and more stuff for us.
Well, I thought it was kind of cool, like how like the big consensus of everything was that the like you kind of hit on there, that a lot of the Palworld fans are saying like that Palworld is everything Pokemon should have been, but you know Pokemon is in the hands of quote unquote some very greedy people. I was actually going to ask you, I was like, does the updates did it make you want to hop back into Palworld? But you said you just recently downloaded. You haven't played the new update yet, have you?
I haven't, and even then, like when we originally played it, like we were having a lot of fun.
We played back in February, dude. That's what I was just looking it up. That's the last time we played. So I wonder like how much has changed in those 10 months since we played.
Probably quite a bit. Like if you think about like a lot of the stuff that they added is incorporated everywhere. Like having like randomized areas where pals are spawning now. That's going to be super cool. It's I'm very excited. I'm definitely going to be trying it. I like we said, I wish Nintendo had done this with Pokemon a long time ago. I think Arceus was a breath of fresh air, and hopefully they take note of how how much people are enjoying Palworld and aim to kind of do something similar. And this is why I'm not a big fan of people placing copyrights on specific game mechanics because of things like this. Like now it's like, who knows, like maybe Palworld, Pocket Pals, Pocket Pair, I think that's what the entity's called.
Yeah, Pocket Pair's
they decide to put a copyright on certain mechanics of this game now, and like Nintendo is now forced to like do different things where if you were in actually, if companies were able to take the things that other game organizations are doing and use that to kind of create their games, I think that's awesome. Like you want to see people take things from other things and use that to create more and more art. Like I definitely think gaming is art. I think gaming
100%.
You get some really cool stuff, and it sucks to see when, like, if you were to think about like a painter, if they were copyrighting their certain like paint strokes and
brush strokes.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like now people can't do these certain things, and it's
no more painting realistic shit, Steve. I'm copywriting that.
Yeah, it sucks to see, but
I'm surprised that they're able to copyright mechanics. I mean, imagine being able to copyright, like, okay, let's just, this is kind of out there as far as comparisons, like copywriting like a department store, you know, like fucking Walmart, you know, and it's like you got Target, Kmart's not around anymore, but you know what I mean? It's just like, you know, imagine if a game company was able to copyright the battle royale fucking mechanic to games, you know, where a storm or whatever is shrinking in. It's like you need that competition to promote better, you know, better games and shit like that.
And people were definitely trying. Like I don't know if you remember like PUBG.
Yeah, I remember.
That's the guy's name is, his name is Player Underground, and he was actually Player Unknown. Yeah, he was trying to sue Fortnite for
the
copying,
mechanic.
Yeah, for copying the BR mode.
Well, you know, he worked. I don't know if he worked for Daybreak, but he helped with H1Z1.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe Daybreak should have fucking copyrighted the Battle Royale, because H1Z1 was bigger before Fortnite. Fortnite came out after H1Z1. The devs, Daybreak kind of ruined that game, but H1Z1 was before any of that shit, because like I said, Player Unknown left from Daybreak, or again, I don't remember exactly, this is years ago, if he actually worked for them or just helped develop the idea, but he left working with them to make PUBG Battlegrounds.
Yeah. Oh.
So, you know, lawsuit aside with this, do you think that it's too late for them to change as like far as being labeled like the Pokemon clone? Like, because I was looking like right now there's like 100,000 people playing right now, Palworld. Do you think it's like, I don't know. I have a hard time. Do you think 100,000 players on Steam like right now is considered like a very active game?
That's pretty good. Like when you think about like some of the most active games in like on Steam, they're probably sitting right around that 100,000 mark or more. So I just wonder
with this, like, because I just wonder how, you know, they were labeled like the Pokemon clone, and I just wonder like if this is kind of like if they're gonna ever be able to come back from that. Like if they're, you know, is it too late for them to change everything, or are they always going to be known, you know, remembered as?
Well, no, I definitely think they separated themselves right around the time they came out. I think before the game came out, everyone was basically just calling this game Pokemon with guns. Yeah. Like your Pokemon are going to be able to have guns, and you're going to be able to shoot things, and you're going to do whatever. But like you were very quickly like, as soon as you started playing it, you're like, okay, the only thing that's really similar to Pokemon is
the pals,
you have these pals and the balls. Yeah. Outside of that, it's like it's more so about like finding resources and using your resources to build. And
it's more like a survival kind of fucking game.
Yeah. It's more like Rust with Pokemon. Yeah. I would say. Like, yeah, there's raids and there's like Pokemon, like there's like gym battles and all this stuff that you can do that kind of do have that very Pokemon-like feel. But for the most part, like it doesn't feel like a Pokemon game. Like even the raid fights, like you're still going around, you're shooting. Like it's not just your Pokemon doing damage. You're the one that's kind of out there doing a good chunk of damage too with your guns or your weapons.
I forgot. It's not to change this real quick, but so I watched the trailer and I saw them like somebody shooting like a machine gun, And I totally forgot that they had guns in this game.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I think very rapidly it separated itself from Pokemon. I think the biggest reason why people are still kind of clumping them up together is because this is what people want to see with from Pokemon, from Nintendo. They want to see you be able to use your Pokemon for things outside of just Pokemon battles and traversing the area. Like
even some of the attachment to your Pokemon then.
Yeah, even some of the traveling portion of it, like being able to fly on your Pokemon, like the way you do
so sick.
with your pals. Like you have different pals that do different things. Like some of them are better at gliding, some of them can actually fly, some of them you use for building material. Like your flame Pokemon, you're using to light your cooker or whatever it is. You have pals that are able to go around and farm and do other things. You have pals that all they're doing is giving you milk and giving you food and stuff like that. Like there's a bunch of different things that you can do with it, and I think that would be super cool if they added that into Pokemon. Because if you think about it, like if you're actually living hypothetically, like if you're in like a Pokemon world and you're living there, like you're probably using your Pokemon to do things. Yeah, like, and you would see that in the show too. It's like you would see people riding around on their Pokemon, doing things with their Pokemon, using their Pokemon for labor, using their Pokemon for whatever. It's like that's what you kind of want from it. You want it to feel like an actual living world versus it's just like you're just going around and doing whatever.
Do you think if Nintendo put out a Pokemon version of this game, do you think it would take all the players away from Palworld?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's people just have a much bigger attachment to Pokemon. Like I think Pokemon, anything Nintendo does with Pokemon, like it's almost like an infinite money glitch for them. If they were to come out and just drop another replica of Scarlet and Violet, just a new set of Pokemon with new Pokemons, like I guarantee you millions of people would buy it and they would just eat it up.
Well, you saw how the Pokemon Pocket did.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. People love Pokemon. Like that's
I'm still playing that game too. They actually just came out with a new pack too. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I saw that. But no, I think if Nintendo did that, like it's the dumbest thing in the world if they don't do it. Yeah, it's.
I think they should have done that instead of suing Pocket Pair. You know, they should have been like, all right, you guys want to do this, then we'll fucking put out our own and we'll just take all your players away. You know.
Well, maybe I think Nintendo was maybe thinking that Palworld would kind of just die. That they would just say, okay, we don't want to fight this. We don't want to do anything. We don't want to compete against Nintendo.
That's such a dumb thought for them, though, because like you said, like Pokemon is such a huge thing. Like anything close to it, like people are going to love that shit.
Yeah, who knows what they were thinking? That's what I'm kind of assuming is like they just were under the impression that anytime Nintendo goes after someone, like they win. Like, and they win by a lot. Like it's never even close. So I'm guessing they were just like, okay, this is the only thing that we can get them with. Let's sue them. Let's take them out, and maybe we'll settle and they'll just completely change everything about their game, and no one's gonna want to play it anymore. And people are gonna forget about them as soon as a new Pokemon game comes out.
You know, so after I saw that trailer, I'm about to. It makes me want to download it, so we're have to play it again soon.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think we should get some Palworld on.
So 100%, man. So it came out. We've talked about this show quite a bit too. Arcane. So it was super popular. We talked about how well received it was. I guess it wasn't profitable though. So Riot spent approximately $250 million on the show's 2 seasons. And I guess Riot didn't have a real plan to recover their investment in the show with how much Netflix paid per episode, which I think was like $2 million. And then they got distribution rights in China, which I think they got another like $2 million per episode. The show didn't even recover half of its total costs with all this stuff. I kind of wonder, like, this might be a dumb question, but besides like advertisements, like how do they become profitable? Because like Netflix, like you don't have the advertisements like you do on like Prime and all the other shit. So like I wonder like what they were thinking, like how they were going to make their money back. I know like in the game, in League of Legends game, I think I told you this, that they put out a bunch of skins. There's like a $250 Jinx skin. They put out skins for like Vi, Jinx, Caitlyn, Victor, Jace. They even went as far as to give Victor a visual gameplay update. They changed the way his character model looks, the way his ult works, and then his ability icons completely changed. So, like, how do you think they really determined, like, how it was profitable? Because it was rated like 100%. So you'd think it was like, you know, it was really good.
Well, yeah, I mean, the show was great. I think, realistically speaking, like, they were probably hoping they got a lot more people to jump onto the game itself, and that's how they were planning on recouping their money from the show.
Okay, but you know this though. But you know this. When you ask somebody if they should play League of Legends, what's the answer that you're given?
No.
So they should have fucking known.
I still think they wanted to use this as a way to like a big marketing campaign. It's just getting people. I honestly, like, my thought process is that they're using this as a way to get people hyped up more so for the MMO that's coming out, because you're getting exposed to Runeterra and some of the characters within the game, and not a lot of people want to jump in to play League of Legends because of how toxic the community is. Like, even
I wouldn't even say that the community is toxic.
It's very toxic. The community itself will
the
tell
community
you, like,
is toxic, yes, but I think the what deters most new players from it is just how fucking confusing it is. Like you were saying, dude, like the building, you know, you need to know what kind of items to use on what champs, but then it's like the items will change depending on who you're going against. Or then you got, let's just say you got a character like Vi who you can build full lethality, or you can build like fucking Bruiser, or you can build fucking Frontline. It's like there's so many different ways of playing. I think that's what makes people not want to play, not necessarily like how toxic it is.
I think it's a bit of both. Like, I think the community itself will tell you how outright toxic the community is, and obviously it is a complicated game. It's a lot more complex than what it kind of looks like. But I still think, like, a game like MOBAs in general are in terms of like your floor, it's very low. Like, you can jump in and play a character and be fine in lower ranks or quick play and do whatever. Like, you're fine. Like, once you kind of start getting into more competitive play, like, obviously you want to figure out like the little intricacies of gameplay in general and go from there. But I don't necessarily think it's the complexity of the game that's keeping people away. Like,
then why aren't you playing it?
Because
don't say because it's toxic. Don't say because it's 100%.
toxic. No, I just don't think it's fun. I don't want to go into a game where it's like people are flaming you right off the bat, and it's like it's your first game playing. Like, you could be playing against bots and you do something that's incorrect, and people are going to be spam pinging you or telling you you're terrible, telling you to kill yourself, like stuff like that. Like, that's
but they have the AI automated system now to fucking suspend you for doing it.
But no, I think that's a big part of it. Like, obviously, like they were hoping to make more money than what they actually did. Maybe they're going to drop some other stuff that's like limited edition stuff that's going to make people want to buy that stuff, whether it's like clothing lines or whatever it is. But I think
merch would be fantastic.
I think people really love the show. It's rated as like one of the best animated shows of all time, and they obviously have a plan to continue going. I mean, Riot's worth billions and billions of dollars, so for them, 200 million, it's like, if they lose 200 million, like, that's fine, but they're building their universe up. Like, so I just think they have to be a little bit smarter when they go into the next one. I think one of the biggest reasons,
is there going to be another season?
Not of this specific thing, but there's already talks that they're working on something else within Runeterra. So other characters probably.
See, I think like what you said, I think what they need to do now is fucking their why did I say stupid? Their fucking MMO. Because you said, because look at this, right? You gain this attachment from Arcane with all these characters. Now is your fucking time. Because like I said, MMOs are a lot easier to fucking get into than MOBA.
And like we were talking about with World of Warcraft, like a big thing that Blizzard did before World of Warcraft even came out, it's like they already had people that were attached to these characters from Warcraft and Diablo and all. And so as soon as World of Warcraft came out, like, you had that audience that was there already, that wanted to learn more and play more, and then it just sucked a bunch more people up. And it's going to be very similar with this. Like, that's why I think this was more of like a marketing campaign for their MMO rather than just League and TFT. Like obviously they have the skins in League, they have the skins in TFT, but I think it's more of like a long play. It's like you're gonna get your MMO that's gonna come out. You have people that love Arcane that already, a lot of people that already play MMOs with like Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, RuneScape, stuff like that, or even other like MOBA types that aren't as intense as League, are going to be able to jump into this MMO and enjoy it because it's not as intense as like say a game like League of Legends or TFT.
But you said you'd play Heroes of the Storm though, right?
In a sense, like it's a little bit more. I definitely think Heroes of the Storm is a little bit more. It's different than League for sure. It's less of like a solo game, I would say. Like I think League is like a mixture of like a single player 1v1 and like multiplayer team fights, versus like Heroes of the Storm is a lot more like objective based. So it's like you're constantly running back and forth. Like yeah, you're doing your lane, but it's more so like you can almost completely ignore your lane and just do the objectives and you'd be fine.
See, I think I played a few games of Heroes of the Storm and I was just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go back on League.
Yeah, the one thing I really wished, and hopefully they kind of learn from this, is instead of trying to animate the show before they have the story fully written, they should kind of wait until the story is completely written and then animate the show. I guess there was a lot of issues with the animators having to go back and reanimate stuff, and just because the story changed or things changed within like writing changed. Yeah, it's they were definitely not as smart with this launch as they could have been. Like that's probably where they sunk a lot of the money, was just constantly reanimating stuff.
Well, is the show not being profitable really surprise you though?
In a sense, like
I thought it was doing good.
I didn't think as soon as I saw how much it cost them to make this season and last season, I didn't think it was going to be profitable. And I think we talked about this with Game.
Yeah, but is $250 million really a lot for 2 seasons of a show? Because fucking Sony spent $200 million on Concord. I mean, I know that's a game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a lot harder nowadays to make money for these big corporations that are bringing out like crazy games, crazy TV shows. Like it's so hard for them to recoup whatever they invested into it, because it already costs so much money. Like when we were talking about like Dragon Age a couple weeks ago, like I think it cost them something like $200-300 million to make. Like yeah, they had a bunch of people buy the game. They maybe had like 100,000, 200,000 people buy the game, maybe even 1 million people buy the game. Like that's still not even close to getting you back to even. Like that's the thing. It's like whenever you're spending so much already, like you're already in the negative, and it's the likelihood of you recouping your money is extremely low.
Well, what would it take for you to hop into League of Legends?
The world ending.
Oh my god, dude, no.
It's just not fun.
Okay, but
it's not enjoyable. Like even you, like when I I'm sitting in a call listening to you play it, you're just crying the whole time, and you're
because like, that's the life of a fucking jungler, dude.
You don't even enjoy the game, and yet
I showed you my games where I was like 20 and freaking 4 or whatever, and I'm like, look at this bot lane 0-12 by fucking minute 10. Like, yeah, that shit's not enjoyable. But like, I love the game. I love playing jungle. It's fucking tilting.
Yeah, it's not fun.
But that it actually brings me to this next segment here. So you're gonna laugh at this. So a recent study came out that video games improve your mental well-being, and I'll just say this surprises you. I'm sure that this surprises you with how tilted you've heard me get over League. So everyone knows that back in the day, we used to get told, violent video games were linked to increased aggression and anger, and now, I mean, those have all been disproven. So these studies that have gone on recently have actually associated gaming with improved mental health. However, some others of these studies highlight potential risks such as addiction and negative emotions. Now, for me, I think that the addiction and negative emotions are probably studies done more for games like League, or games that have like betting in it. Like when it comes to the addiction, like the CS:GO crates and FIFA card packs. Do you feel with how much you've gamed since you've been gaming since you were like a fucking infant? Do you think that gaming has improved your overall like mental well-being?
I definitely think it helps. I think one of the big things is gaming is such a social thing, and we see it all the time with like people that don't really have the ability to go out and live normal lives. And I think the Ibelin thing was a perfect example. It's like someone that was able to live a life within a game that they otherwise would not be able to live. I think gaming offers you that, especially like after the pandemic where people weren't able to go out and socialize with their friends. It offered an opportunity to be able to socialize and do things with your friends that you otherwise wouldn't have the ability to do. In terms of like addiction, like gaming gives you such huge dopamine responses. I think there was a study that showed that like it creates the same level of dopamine that you would get from like taking like hard drugs. So that's probably where the addiction aspect comes from it. Like,
are you addicted to video games?
I definitely would say like
enjoy them a lot.
It's probably a mix. Like it's hard to say. Like I think in terms of like the level of rush that you get when you do something well or you complete something that you've been struggling to complete, it's like it's the best thing in the world. Like it's the biggest high ever. Like if you're stuck on a boss or you're
made it out of bronze.
Yeah, or you're trying to get a very specific rating in a game like League or whatever it is, Fortnite, and all of a sudden you get over that hump, and like now it's like, oh crap, yeah, I've been wanting to get this for so long, and it's the best feeling in the world, and you're just so excited, and or people like speedrunners, competitive players, like you see it all the time. It's like people reach that pinnacle, and it's like it's ecstasy, and that's why I can definitely see like people just getting addicted and getting stuck, and it's like. And even like us when we were talking about playing games like Balatro, it's like you just lose track of time. You're just playing so much because it's like, okay, one more. Let me just do one more run.
Megan yells at me. She's like, "Get off the fucking phone!" And she showed me. I was like, "I can't. I'm at line 20,000."
It's the exact same feeling that you would get from like a drug addict. Like gaming provides that, but it also gives you you also get benefits that you wouldn't get from drugs. There was a study I can't remember when the study was, but it was basically saying that surgeons that play video games are like 30% less likely to make mistakes during surgery.
Probably because you hyper focus on shit.
What's like the hyper focus, you have like the better reaction time. You're able to process things more quickly, like because in gaming, like when you think about it, it's like you have a bunch of things jumping at you all at once, and it's like you're having to react like very, very quickly. Sometimes it's like say like Fortnite, you're fighting some guy, and then all of a sudden 2 more teams jump out behind you. So you have to react quickly and adjust, or otherwise you're going to die. Yeah. And it's like when you die, then next time you're going to be a little bit better. And that's the whole thing. It's like gaming provides that, and it's like it gives you, and I think we talked about this before too. It's like it teaches you how to like just put your head down and just grind, and just like, okay, we're just going to do this over and over and over again until we can figure it out and move on.
Do you think time it'll be? But do you think that different games promote different moods? So like what I mean by that is like you have again like competitive games. I feel like competitive games bring out, even though it says it's disproven, the aggression and anger, but then like if you're wanting to like improve your mental well-being, you can play something like Baldur's Gate or Palworld, or whatever. Do you think like it just depends on the game that you're playing?
No, I think it depends on the person. I think no matter what, if you have someone that's overly competitive, they're going to get overly competitive with any game they play. And they're probably going to be more attracted to a game
that's true too.
Like League or whatever it is, like a more competitive game rather than some of your more laid back, like cozy types of games.
Well, that
But
just
even
reminded
then,
me
like,
with Brett, who you know is probably like the most competitive person that we've ever played with when we were playing Palworld, and how he was getting so pissed at all of us throwing the balls at the boss.
yeah, and it's something like that. It's like games like that where it's like there's not really any end game. Like even if we did catch it, like yeah, we can always go back and recatch it again. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like it's gonna respawn and you're gonna be able to get it. And we could all end up with the same thing. But it's like you have people that are overly competitive and they're gonna be competitive no matter what. That's just how it is. But at the same time, it's like you have these level of achievements with any type of game, and so no matter what, like you can get addicted to anything in life, and gaming is one of those things. But I definitely think even like nowadays, I would say like you have games that kind of talk more about mental health. I know there's like I can't remember the name of the game, but I was watching something on it, and it very much like it's like a depression simulator basically, and it talks about like doing certain things and like not wanting to do certain things when you're more depressed, and what you can kind of do to get you out of that funk. And there was a lot of people that were saying that like that game specifically really helped them out because it kind of taught them to learn how to see when they were in that state of mind, and now they knew what to do to kind of get themselves out of that funk because they did that in the game.
Yeah, that was that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer game.
No.
Yeah, so I think like for me it has helped out with like decision making skills. Like you said, it's like you're playing a game of Fortnite, you just kill a team and then all of a sudden another team comes and you're like, okay, how am I going to react to this situation? How am I going to act under pressure? And I feel like that definitely has its benefits to it. I'd even go as far as say that it's also helped me out, like improve my social skills. You know, because I met some of my best friends through video games. Is there, when you're wanting to just dive into a game, just let go of everything, is there a game, or let's just say, okay, let me change that. You just had a shitty day at work, right? You want to just escape and fucking get in a better mood. Is there a specific game that you hop into?
I wouldn't necessarily say there's like a specific game. I think in the past it was always World of Warcraft. There was like something so natural about coming home and just like jumping on World of Warcraft. And I think that's like the perfect game for me, where it's like it's so easy to just forget about everything that's going on in the world because it's like you're so overly consumed by what's going on there. But I mean, nowadays it's honestly any game. Like any game I can instantly jump in, and it's like I have to, especially a game like say like a game like Hearthstone or TFT, where you just have to hyper focus on what's going on within the game.
It makes you forget about
itself
everything else
so
going
much.
on.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I love playing like a bunch of different games, because it's like it gives you the opportunity to see a bunch of different things all at once.
Okay, but does Hearthstone put you in a better mood?
I mean,
no,
that's the thing. It's like
I bet you
wouldn't
rage so hard, dude.
Not really. I think games like Hearthstone, I think games like Hearthstone, like there's RNG, and it's like once you kind of learn the idea that RNG is kind of incorporated into these types of games, like a lot of the times when you lose, it's because you could have done something differently, and I think that's the case with every game. Like 99% of the time when you lose a game, it's because you probably did something that wasn't as optimal as what you could have done, or maybe you went this way instead of going the other way, and that's why you lost. I think once you kind of learn that aspect of it, it's like it just becomes a lot better, a lot easier. Like
I'm gonna disagree with you though, dude. I don't think I think it does matter what kind of game you play. I think like in order to get in a better mood, you have to play a game that's in like an alternate universe, like WoW, or like an MMO. I think like if you're playing something like Hearthstone, you start losing every game, all this other crap. I think it's just gonna make your mood worse.
I think it just depends on the person. Like for me, like I can jump into anything. Like I could jump into
whatever. I lost. Next game.
Yeah. I could jump into Fortnite. Yeah, I could jump into Fortnite. I could jump into anything, whatever it is, and as long as it's a game that I thoroughly enjoy, like I'm not gonna get upset about it. Because again, you have to learn to understand that a lot of the times when you lose, you're losing because something you did, and when you can,
no, not me, dude.
You 100% of the time. It's for you. It's 100% of the time, not 99.9% of the time. But yeah, it's once you kind of learn that aspect of it, and you're like, okay, let me figure out what I did was what I did wrong. Take that and either get better from it, or just move on. Like that's the best thing that you can do. Like obviously you can tilt with anything, but that you just need to learn to understand when you're tilting and how to not tilt, basically.
Yeah. So okay. So when it comes to like the mental well-being and stuff like that, a lot of it is talked about with like, you know, adults, you know, let's say ages like 18 plus. Do you think that video games could also be beneficial to like the younger generation? I'm talking like, you know, preteens, young kids. Do you think that it would help also improve their mental health, or do you think it just kind of pertains to like that, you know, young adult and older group?
I do think so. The only issue I would say with kids playing games, it's like when we talk about that dopamine rush that you get from gaming, kids that have no idea how to understand like that whole aspect of earning your gift or earning dopamine, when you're just getting fed dopamine nonstop. That's why you have kids that are like your quote unquote iPad kids, that basically you take the iPad away from them and they just become little monsters. Yeah. It's like because they're just so accustomed to just always having that hit of dopamine nonstop. Yeah. So it's like when you have to figure out a way to balance that. If you can't balance that, then you're just going to create little monsters. And that's the thing. It's like, you have to figure out a way to, one, force them to earn that reward, similar to and I think this is why that study was done on like adults and pre-adults, because it's like you're going to school, you're doing hard things, you're working full time, and you're doing things like that to be able to come home and game. Like it's like you feel like you've earned
that.
You've earned that hit of dopamine. It's like you've earned that reward. Versus like a kid that's just like you're sitting on an iPad all day. Yeah. And granted, like I think a lot of we were kind of like the first generation that was kind of that had the ability to just sit in front of a screen and just play games all day if we wanted to.
Well, yeah, because they had the Super Nintendo came out. I mean, that was like our parents and stuff like that, but like games really started getting bigger as we were growing up with like Xbox and Nintendo 64 and shit like that.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think the introduction of online play kind of opened it up to a whole new world, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree. So before we get into our last topic, if you're enjoying this episode, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials at the BSShowGG. So a game we've talked about a lot too, Concord. The company Naughty Dog has a trailer for their new game called Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, and their number for their trailer are really embarrassing. So the reason I bring up Concord is because the trailer, which is on PlayStation's YouTube channel for this Intergalactic game, has been disliked over 256,000 times, which is 524% more dislikes than the trailer for Concord, which again was shut down after being out for only a few weeks. Did you happen to catch or actually see the trailer?
So I saw the trailer, and I think when we talked about the gaming awards, and like the one thing that I was the most excited about, what was this game specifically, and a lot of it having to be because I just have such fond memories of Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Like I've talked time and time again of how Uncharted is my favorite series of all time. I love Uncharted. Like Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4 are arguably like some of my most beloved gaming moments ever. I love those games. I love The Last of Us. The Last of Us 2 was okay. It was still fun, like, but at the same time, it's like I love Naughty Dog. Like Crash Bandicoot was incredible. Like there's so many games that I just love from this organization that I want to give them a chance. The thing I think that a lot of people were very upset with is what the main voice actor posted on her Instagram after
she talking shit about the gamers.
Well, she posted something that basically said like it was an image and it said "You mad, bro?" and I think it showed her and the Witcher girl, and like underneath it was like it said something like incel tears, like toxic masculinity, incel tears, whatever. So DEI delicious stuff like that, like just little things.
Just baiting.
That, like, I think. Yeah, I think angered a lot of people. Like I think a lot of people were upset because it's an Asian woman lesbian with a shaved head, and it's like I think we're in an era now where people, like, if you have like anything that's out of the norm, then looks weird or looks funky, like people are automatically gonna like.
Well, yeah. Did you see some of those comments?
Yeah, they're gonna say it's woke. They're gonna say it's crazy. It's like, what are you doing? And it's not the best tactic or methodology to go with if you're a gaming studio nowadays, because you're instantly just segregating a large portion of consumers.
Okay, but here's the thing though. Okay, so I agree with you to a certain extent. So like, I don't even think that the trailer was woke. I mean, yeah, the main protagonist is like a black like butch lesbian, but they weren't like shoving it down your throat about it. I mean, she just happened. That's just who she is. I didn't really see anything wrong with it.
I think it's largely because of who the protagonist, how she looks like, and then I think what the main voice actor posted did not help whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. I mean, yeah. Again, yeah, I get it. Like, a lot of these games have forced that woke aspect down our throats, whatever. But like I said, like reading the comments saying, "Oh my God, Naughty Dog woke," they need to go back to Last of Us, all this other shit. Like, I don't know. I didn't see anything wrong with the trailer. I thought it looked pretty fucking good. I didn't really give a shit that the character looked the way they did. Like I said, yeah. I mean, should that girl not have posted what she did? I mean, but that doesn't take away from like what went into the game.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And granted, like ever since there was two people that left Naughty Dog, I can't remember their names. One of them was fired, and one of them kind of just left. Ever since then, it's not been the best. Like there's been a lot of like pushing of narratives into the games, and a lot of people were upset like when Last of Us 2 came out, because you kill off, and I know I talked about this in the past. They kill off the main character of the first game within the first like hour, and you're just like, what the heck? Like what are you doing? Like this is like, you're kind of expecting to be able to play as this guy for a long time, and this is a character that you've kind of grown attached to, and then turning the main character into a lesbian, and then all of a sudden it's like the person that kills the main guy, you're able to forgive them because of certain things, and it's like that kind of ticked me off a bit. But there's a lot of things that have upset me that they've been doing, but I get like when I first saw the trailer for the game, I was excited. Like
it didn't look bad, right?
The game looks cool, looks fun. I like the theme of it. It's like very 80s space like, looks super cool. But at the same time, it's like
they should have made a different main character into something more people can relate to.
I mean, I'm fine with it no matter what. Like I'm gonna play it. Like I said, I love Naughty Dog. I will always support Naughty Dog until they do something. Like maybe this game comes out and it's just completely terrible. But for now, like the game's fine. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna play it, and maybe it sucks, and maybe I'm done with Naughty Dog after this. But who knows? Like,
I wonder how many of those comments were just from like edgy teens, like just trying to say that shit and do it just to get a reaction. Because I know like they actually Sony turned off the comments on the trailer. Because the comments they were getting.
I think as soon as people saw the trailer and saw who the main protagonist was, they're like, "Oh, yep, this is it."
You just know what's going through their head as soon as she popped up on the screen.
Like I saw Asmongold react to it, and it was instantly like as soon as he saw the main character shaving her head, it was like, "Oh, wow, what is this?" And it's like at the same time, like I understand like people are going to be upset about it, but the other side that's defending it are being equally as aggressive, and they're calling out the people that are upset about it and like saying a bunch of stuff about them. So it's like both sides are kind of just fighting each other, and that's
but at least it wasn't like what was it? There was that game we talked about before where they're sitting around like a bonfire, and one of the characters is referred to as like she, her. She goes, "Those are not my pronouns." I'm just glad that they didn't like force something like that, because like I said, to me that's not woke.
We also haven't seen any of the gameplay. We just saw a trailer.
Yeah, but at least the trailer they're not shoving that woke shit down your throat just from the fucking trailer.
But that's the thing is, like, I think as soon as as soon as people see the game as woke and they label it as woke, you already have a group of consumers that are just automatically not gonna play this game and boycott this game. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not great for a publisher to do this and I'm not saying they're forcing it, but like they're purposely either making their protagonist to be a very specific way that's going to automatically upset a large group of consumers. So I think no matter what, like the people that are upset about the character being the way the character is without even the post are not going to play the game. Like already, like there's no way they play this game.
Do you think they should have done like a different kind of trailer?
Either a different kind of trailer or different
character,
or different character. Just again, like I don't care. I'm still going to play the game, but like a large population, a large group of people are already not going to play the game just because of the way the character looks.
Yeah, no,
I don't think that's
play it too. I think it looks pretty good. Just said,
yeah. And I don't think that's how you want to be if you're a game developer, where you're already segregating a large group of people.
Yeah, I think they should have been like, how is the community going to take this trailer? They should have known that they're going to be like, okay, they're probably going to say something and have a certain reaction to this main character that we're using. Like you said, if you're trying to, and like you said too, like with the amount of games that are coming out and amount of great games that are coming out, like you really got to think about that stuff before you put it out there like that.
Yeah.
Right?
And again, like who knows if they even, maybe it's the same group that was responsible for bringing out Concord and they saw this and they're like, this is great. Let's bring this out there. This is the best thing ever. But I think more and more publishers are going to start seeing that, and they're going to start thinking about what their characters look like, because very similar to Concord, like we saw people do like hero shooters. Like Marvel Rivals is huge. Like a lot of people are playing Marvel Rivals, and a lot of it has to do with the way the characters are designed. Like the
big juicy asses.
Basically, like people love overly feminized characters when they're girls. Like they love that.
Oh, is there anything else you want to hit on with this, dude? I was gonna say I was kind of surprised with all these comments about it being woke. I really thought that like Sweet Baby Ink was gonna have something to do with the writing on it. I'm not gonna lie.
Who knows?
Yeah. So you got nothing else for this?
No.
All right. So some games that are on sale that I think everybody needs to check out. You got Assassin's Creed Origins is 90% off at $5.99. You got Titanfall 2 is 90% off as well at $2.99. And Need for Speed Heat is 95% off at $3.49. And that's it for today's episode of The BS Show. If you enjoyed the unfiltered conversations, make sure to follow us on all socials at The BS Show GG. We appreciate you listening, and we'll be back next week with more straight talk, no BS.